Welcome to Town Administrator Update, and our guest, of course, is Burlington's excellent Town Administrator, John Danizio.
Hey, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we ended your intro appearance here at BCAT the last time. We didn't have enough time to go into a lot of other issues, one of which was economic development and how are we progressing, what are some of the pitfalls, what are some of the things that are going on in terms of abatements and sales, etc., and values, and what do you see as the challenges moving forward?
Okay, I will try. You let me know if I miss any of them. We'll start with pitfalls. Obviously, the market isn't great. Anybody that drives around, you can see empty parking lots. We've seen some sales of buildings for pennies on the dollar. Burlington Woods.
That was Corporate Drive, and that went to a nonprofit, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's there's that. On the bad side, there's also, we're staying at about 20% vacancy rate according to CoStar, which is the system we use to track all of that, which is better than the region, of course. Burlington is still an attractive place, but there has been, that's the bad side. The good side is there has been some activity. There's been, in 2025, there's been, over 40 leases renewed for 300,000 square feet. So, we're hanging in there. We're hopeful for things like the landmark zoning change for the Burlington Mall. That has been the economic engine for the town for 50 years. Right. And now there's been some zoning that was passed, probably right before last time we met, that allows us to shape that to what it's going to look like for the next 50 years. And now what's happening is that zoning's passed, so the planning board's working hard to put in the guidelines and implementations of that zoning, how it's going to work.
But that's mostly for housing, is it not?
It is, but that's also where that was the economic engine. So if some housing goes in there and mixes it up, does it bring that mall back? One of the things we talk about, since you said housing, was empty office spaces or lab spaces. We always worry about those being a push to convert them to housing, because now they would be not taxed at the commercial rate of
Right.
$25. They'd be at the residential rate of less than $9.
Right.
So that's sort of one of the things we worry about. So,
is there a net gain when you consider that you might get X number of students that might eat up that property tax revenue?
Yeah, we worry about the loss we have just on the value alone, just on the with the two rates being different, and then the added costs that come with more people that live here, that are using our services, rather than people that are just working here during the day. And
that would be a 60% reduction, essentially, in tax revenue to change from commercial to residential.
Right. Yeah.
The same building.
Yeah, the rate would be going from, say, 25 to less than 9. So that's kind of a big hit. So what Melissa and her team are doing, and she has this economic vitality group that gets together that has some folks, planning folks, select board folks, and then some of the key stakeholders in town that are working on what can we be doing to retain and attract new businesses, and just all the other stuff that goes along with not just filling that office. Right. It's the rest of the stuff.
Well, she's had a couple of pretty good scores here recently.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think you had her in to talk about her award, which is great.
Yeah.
We've been, we're still hanging in there. It does keep you up a little bit at night, especially with the values of commercial properties being flat for a few years now. Well, the good news is our residential values in Burlington continue to grow, but the bad news is that also means your tax bills going up, and if they're not growing, if the commercial rate isn't growing at all, that's just shifting more of the burden back to.
But they continue to, on the residential side, they continue to skyrocket with these McMansions. I mean, I got a $2 million house down the street from me. I mean, hard to believe.
Right. I think the values have gone up something like 70% in 10 years. So, a average single family was $420,000 10 years ago. It's $800,000 now. Right. So,
now on the issue of housing and the MBTA zoning, there's an article on Town Meeting that along Middlesex Turnpike across from the Bancroft, that I think Nordblom is coming in. 20 units an acre is the MBTA limit, right?
15. Yep.
15, and they're coming in for
For 30.
For 30.
Yep.
So it's going to turn into a 188 unit development.
Correct, yeah. So that parcel was part of the MBTA communities, and unfortunately, which allows for 15 units per acre. Unfortunately, financially, it just doesn't work at that density. So they're coming in to talk about a density that does work to them. Turns out to be 188 units at 30%, which is really double. So that's allowed by right at 15, so they got to come to town meeting to get the rezoning done. So there's some work with that about, yes, the housing would be allowed there. That's twice as much as is allowed. So how do you feel about that?
Well, is that the residents' responsibility to upgrade the size and density of these buildings to accommodate the developer?
No, I don't think it is, but nothing's going to get built there if you don't consider things like that. So with interest rates what they are, construction costs what they are, the developers just can't make it work at that number. And then that's up to town meeting to say, yeah, well, we're okay with it at that number because we passed that zoning, but anything beyond that, we're not okay. And that's
the great promise of the United States is home ownership. How can we shift these developers into condominiums so that instead of a $100 million project at 7% appreciation on an annualized basis going to the developer, that 7% annualized might go to individual homeowners?
Yeah, and I think that's the developer's decision on that. Is it's easier for them to make, or it's better for them to make more money. They're going to make more money on the apartments because of as you just said. And the sale, they're selling it right away. They're recognizing the profit right away. It's going to eat into...
Well, yeah, because of capital gains, but they could wait a year. But in any event, that'll have to sort itself out in the marketplace. Let's shift gears over to Route 3A, which, as it looks like right now, it's like driving through Candyland. What feedback are you getting from residents in terms of their acceptance of these changes?
Yeah, I think last time I was here, I said there was going to be a learning curve. I think we're still in the learning curve. I think it's been mixed. I think folks that are heading north, say from here north, have experienced it worse. And part of that is the traffic signaling at the end of Wynn Street on 3A has DOT is addressing that as we speak. It has caused quite a backup if you're heading from, say, the high school area from 128 towards Billerica. That's been the worst of it. Those are the people we hear from the most. I feel like the people that are coming from the north heading this way towards 128 have maybe have already figured it out because
they've adjusted further from Billerica.
Yeah, right? From further they had already painted the lines. So maybe the new lines don't scare them as much or confuse them as much.
Okay. Well, have you seen a bike yet in the bike lane?
I have not seen a bike. I do drive every day to see my grandson, but I haven't seen one yet. I'm going to call you when I do see one.
Oh, good. Let's make a bargain on that, okay? Now let's talk about water. I got my water bill today, rather shocking.
Yep.
I know that, what were the reasons? There is a fundamental reason why we had water rate increases of 9% a year for 3 years. And that fundamental reason is what?
So a couple things. I hope next time we plan our thing, it will be the day before you get your water bill that I can come talk to you. But so as you know, the plan was in place for when we were first going to enter the MWRA was to have a phased-in water rate increase over time. Good news is we've started the last phase of the MWRA connection project, if you will. So it has funny labels, but 2B is the last phase, which has started. There was a little bit of a delay from DOT because we needed a permit to be able to go under the overpass, under 128 on Middlesex Turnpike. So we finally started. It's gonna creep into next construction season. We'll work all the way up till the Christmas season as long as we can, and then that will stop and we'll come back in the spring to finish it. But that'll be the last leg of it, and we'll finally be getting our full amount of water that we can from the MWRA. So why we're on a full ban right now, what's causing everybody's concern right now is that we had usage levels that we haven't seen here in years at the beginning of the summer, which prompted the calls from the DPW asking people to to obey the watering rules, and then we got hit with the heat wave, and those levels really started to. We had to worry about the water system, so we had to turn on an emergency pipe from MWRA through Lexington. So our once you turn that on, automatically triggers full water ban.
Right.
So even if we had it on for a day and shut it right off, and we decided, it still triggers a full water ban for that season. So.
And did DEP have some concerns about the water levels at Shawsheen that we were trying to draw into the reservoir?
Yeah, and the drought level for the area triggers one water ban. So, but we were okay because we stagger the watering. You water every other day. What triggered the full water ban is the emergency, once we turn on our emergency access to MWRA. So that might confuse people. I thought we were already getting MWRA. So we have the pipe we get that isn't to the full capacity yet.
Right.
So when we can't keep up, or if there's, say, Mill Pond was down for a reason, we have an emergency access to water through Lexington from MWRA to get another extra 1 million gallons a day.
Right. Now this was a change from post-COVID. Post-COVID, we had a dramatic drop in water consumption to the point where we weren't covering the enterprise fund, and I think that was the reason at that time for the rate increases. Is that still going to be the case? Are we in year 3 of that?
So that was sewer. So sewer bills are based on water usage.
Right.
But yeah, because the water usage is back where they were, we don't have any concerns about that. Sewer, that should be a more normalized increase to sewer rates going forward, which maybe is a few, under the 5%, say, over annually.
Right.
The bigger increase was because of the decrease in water usage, which is how you fund, which is how you the sewer rate is based off of. And we had a few years where we had to reserve some of our retained earnings in our sewer enterprise fund in case the water revenues didn't cover fully the cost. Right. We're past that now. This year was the first year we didn't have to have a reservation in the retained earnings in the enterprise fund.
Now, is the MWRA connection fully funded? We bonded that out back a few years ago. Is the whole connection fully funded, or do we have further appropriations necessary for that?
No, the last approval was this past May when we decreased and merged. We renamed one of the approvals to, say, 2B rather than 2A, and then that was the final approval we needed. We haven't fully borrowed that yet. We'll wait till when we nail down the final costs. But I think the original estimate for MWRA connection was somewhere in the mid-20 millions, and it's less than half that when we finally finished, between other things that were done and the waiving of entrance fees from the MWRA.
Okay, let's move on, and let's not talk about pro or con on the high school, but let's talk about the financing.
Yep.
It looks like it's going to be $340. Police station is $45. Fox Hill is $80. Current debt is $70. That's going to bring us up to $550 or $530. If it passes town meeting, we'll have to have a debt exclusion override. What portion of the debt will be included in the debt exclusion?
So as of right now, the plan is for just the high school to be part of the debt exclusion.
And we'll carry the rest of the debt inside the normal budget?
Correct.
Okay.
So we had talked about when those projects had come up, to approve them on their merit, come back and decide if we wanted to add them into an exclusion in the future. It was decided not to. The good news for that debt is 2 years from now we could decide, you could have a vote and exclude the rest of that debt from that point on. But right now, that's not the plan.
Okay. Any other hot button issues you're concerned about coming up at town meeting?
For this town meeting, no. There's obviously the two we just talked about. We've got 2 agreements with tentative agreements with both police unions. So the 3 contracts that were unsettled, 2 of them will be hopefully passed at this town meeting, and we'll just leave one still open that we're working on with the fire department.
Department, they're always last. Sorry.
I'll let them know you said
Sorry, well, they know. I was on the Board of Selectmen and negotiated those. Okay, that brings this town administrator update to a conclusion. Thank you, John, for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you, and see you next month.